2023 has been the most productive I've been my entire life. I've learned how to beat procrastination, manage a business while also getting 2 master's degrees, and just generally learned how to deeply focus. And so today, I want to share with all of you my 5 best productivity tips. Before I begin though, I do want to make clear that not everything is going to work for you. Some of what I do, my friends say is a bit excessive, but I think it's always helpful to hear what other people do, and you can kind of pick and choose whatever you think will work best for you. My first tip is a bit broad, and it's just to figure out an organization system that works best for you. What I'm about to show you is a little bit excessive, but it's my own personal system. And I want to show you guys what everything looks like from a macro level and narrowed down to smaller to-do lists. And there are 3 main components of my life that I need to keep organized, which are rareliquid, school, and everything else, which is just kind of miscellaneous stuff. For rareliquid, I keep track of which videos I need to make and the business overall in an Excel sheet. And for school, I have a separate document for all my assignments for the semester. Every 1 to 3 days or so, I'll add what the high priority items are onto my calendar, and they'll all be color coded as red for rareliquid, green for school, and blue for all the miscellaneous stuff. So at this point is probably where things get a little bit weird and overkill for most people in how excessively organized I am. But first, I keep a running to-do list on my calendar because I look at my calendar all the time, and it helps me keep in mind what I have left to do in all 3 categories. Second, either the night before or morning of, I'll roughly plan out the entire day with the different tasks I want to get done for the day. Third, I'll write out my to-do list for the day onto my whiteboard so I can visualize my daily to-do list, and I love adding these green check marks whenever I finish a task. So I shared what I do with my friend, and she told me, yeah, you are definitely on the extreme end of being way too organized. And so I'm not necessarily saying that you guys have to follow my system, but I did share with you a few things in there that hopefully you found helpful. One of those things I just want to double click on is if you can get a whiteboard and kind of visualize your to-do list. I find that personally to be very helpful. Another thing I kind of glazed over is my second tip, which is calendar time blocking. Calendar time blocking is when you schedule out every part of your day, and I pretty much schedule out my entire day except for some random breaks I take or when I sleep. As I mentioned before, I typically time block during the mornings and try to roughly plan out my day, but usually things take a bit longer than I anticipate. As a result, I think the key to calendar time blocking is being very forgiving to yourself and not stressing out if you don't get things done within a set period of time, and being very flexible with moving things around. We all only have a certain number of hours in the day, and I love calendar time blocking because it helps me visualize to see what I can kind of roughly get done throughout the day. And so this is one of my favorite productivity hacks. All right, so even though I'm really organized and that is one of my strengths, one of my greatest weaknesses is having a really poor memory.
Suffer from short-term memory loss.
And that's known amongst my friends. And while I'm at school, because right now I'm getting an MBA at Wharton, I typically meet a lot of really cool people and find myself forgetting what we talked about. That's why I've actually been using a really helpful tool called Dex, which you can think of as your private home for your favorite people. And let me share with you what I like most about it. First off, Dex can automatically aggregate all your contacts from LinkedIn, your phone, email, and more. Then, let's say I had a really good conversation with one of my friends and classmates at Wharton and want to write down a few notes of what we talked about, then I can easily do that on my laptop or on the mobile app. Or let's say you're a student finding contacts for investment banking recruiting. The Dex plugin allows you to easily add people on LinkedIn, set reminders on when to reach out, add them to a group, and also has AI features that help you generate messages on LinkedIn to save you time. Then on the Dex platform, you can search for any of your contacts in the search bar or by specific keywords, like if I want to look up my classmates. And you can also go to a world map to see where your contacts are so you know who to hit up the next time you're traveling. Dex can be a super helpful tool whether you're recruiting, networking, or just trying to maintain personal relationships. And you can check them out for free if you use my link down in the description below. All right, let's now move on to my next and third tip, which is creating a workspace that you love. For around 4 years, I used to live in Korea with my parents, and I was kind of in a cooped up room where I couldn't really decorate anything, and I used to film all my videos in a tiny little corner. I always told myself that when I got my own place, I'd create a workspace that I loved. And so I did a ton of research into monitors, desks, furniture, and etc. And it's helped me be so productive. And what you're seeing is the end result. I opted for a 3-monitor display with the one on the left mainly for emails, the top for my calendar and messaging apps, and the bottom for Chrome, Excel, or whatever app I'm mainly focusing on. I gained a lot of inspiration for my apartment from Japanese interior design, so if you're thinking about creating your own workspace, I highly recommend first figuring out what kind of style you want through Pinterest and then adding your own personal twist to everything. I also want to mention that I know that not everyone can create their own personal space. Trust me, I was there for 4 straight years, but I think everyone can add a little bit to their workspace to make them love it more, whether it's a motivational picture or just certain types of furniture that you really like. I really think it's worth investing into because it really will help you get more productive. Also, if you're curious to know exactly what I bought for my apartment and everything, I'll leave a link down to all of that in my description below as well. The fourth tip I have is scheduling your tasks based on your energy levels. If you're like most people, you'll probably wake up with a good amount of energy, eat lunch and maybe get a little bit sleepy, and then towards the end of the evening kind of crash. And for me, I guess I never really thought about scheduling my tasks based on when I have the most energy. I used to actually really think that I was really more of a night owl type of person, and I guess I still kind of am more naturally, but I recently started doing a lot more of my hard tasks in the morning, which actually includes things like gymming or rare liquid work. Rare liquid work is not necessarily something that I find hard or challenging all the time because I enjoy working on stuff for rare liquid, but I find that it takes the longest kind of brain power and energy to do. And so I try to always tackle my biggest tasks in the morning, and then later on as the evening kind of winds down to focus on the easier things like answering emails. I also want to emphasize that I understand that some people just work better at night, and I used to kind of be that way, as I said. So if that's the case, then I would try to move all the important stuff, I guess, later towards the end of the night for you. But I will also say that I kind of shifted more and more now to becoming a morning person, and I am finding myself being a lot more healthy and productive. All right, my fifth and last but not least tip, because it's been the biggest game changer for me, is to buy an hourglass. I had a really hard time focusing in 2022. I'd be always checking my phone. I'd be randomly watching one YouTube video and then a few hours passed and I'll be like on my 10th video or something like that, you know? And for some reason, I just couldn't focus. And so I was looking into different ways, and I remembered something called the Pomodoro technique, which is when you set a timer for 25 minutes and you work and focus for that 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break. But I never really loved the aspect of the timer because it makes like an unpleasant sound at the end. And so I thought to myself, why don't I buy an hourglass, because it's not going to have that unpleasant noise at the end that a timer does. And what's also great about that is that I bought one for 30 minutes. And whenever that 30 minutes ends, because there's no noise at the end, a lot of times I just keep working on whatever I'm working on. And I get into that workflow mindset where I can just keep working. When I do flip the hourglass, I tell myself that I'm gonna focus on the task at hand and not be distracted by anything else, no matter what. So I don't look at my phone, don't look on anything else on the web or internet. And this has really been, for me, I don't know why, but the biggest game changer. It's really kind of taught me how to focus and taught me that focusing itself is kind of a habit and muscle that you need to build as if you're going to the gym and doing reps. And so I highly recommend trying this out of really all the kind of different tips I gave you, because this one has really allowed me to focus the most and be super productive. So those are my 5 productivity tips. Let me know also what has worked super well for you. I'm always open to hearing what other things people do. And also wanted to give you a friendly reminder, if you want to kind of manage all your relationships in one app, feel free to check out Dex using my link down in the description below. You can also check out my Instagram and TikTok if you want more content. And with that said, thank you all so much for watching. Hope to catch you all in the next video.